Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, travelers? This is Ricky Venters and Marlon Madden, and we're here today with our second season of the Success Journey Show. And as you can see, it's not just us. We are surrounded with some fabulous, fine-looking women that we have the privilege to call our wives. So, Marlon, why don't you introduce your wife first, and I'll go second here.
All right, hey, travelers, season 2. All right, there were flowers around us. It's so beautiful. Thanks for the shirt. So my wife here is Tamila Madden. Hey, introduce yourself.
So I'm Tamila Madden, formerly Tamila Murray. I'm married to this awesome Marine, Marlon Madden.
Oh, thank you.
I like that. I like how she threw it back at you.
And this is none other than my beautiful, gorgeous wife of 12 years.
12
we just
years.
celebrated.
Oh, man.
12.
I remember like it was yesterday.
She has her
12 years.
platform. I'm gonna put a plug in for her.
Oh,
Half
thank
Mom,
you.
Half Amazing. Even though she never tags me on anything that she posts that's related to the kids, as though she's just doing everything by herself.
Wow. Okay.
I'm always the one in the background. But anyways, this is my wife, none other than Nicole Venters.
Thanks for the shout out and for making me seem like a terrible person. But I'm glad to be around the table with you guys on the Success Journey Show.
Yes,
today.
indeed.
Yeah, you're honored.
Yes.
Privilege.
So when Marla and I, we asked our wives to join us for this show, and really we asked them to join because Marla and I, we've been doing this for the past 8 months, 9 months, something like that now, and it takes a lot of time to do a lot of this stuff, traveling, whatever it is, editing, whatever it is, and we wanted to show just that we're a complete package, and some of our why and our drive and why we are doing this. We mentioned before in the past on some of our previous episodes just about that whole legacy factor. Marlon mentioned about just the way he wants to approach his kids, just the mindset he wants to give them. I've mentioned many times about the way I want to transfer things onto my kids, and I don't want to make it seem as though those are just our thoughts and us doing that. That's more so of the collective thoughts of between us and our wives and just what we want to have in the future for our family. So we invited them to come on, and to kick off the second season, we just wanted to talk about legacy.
Yeah.
What we're looking for in the future.
Yeah, and it's very important because behind, and you could go vice versa, behind any successful woman is a man that's there backing her up, and behind any successful man is a woman that's there backing him up. So
unfortunately, you don't hear the first part of that.
Yeah, you don't hear the first part. You don't hear the first part, right? But we just want to say, in order for us to do what we do, bring all the content to you guys, there has to be somebody that's even checking what we're doing. So sometimes we'll their sounding board, they'll tell us, hey, no, cut that out, do this, do that, do this, and the third. So, and also they listen to our show when they listen to our show, right?
Yeah, they don't listen to it often.
Yeah. My wife told me I'm taking away from her gospel time when she's communing with Jesus when she's going to work. I was like, what? Don't use Jesus as a scapegoat.
It's a good excuse.
Radio.
So we do support. We definitely support, and like you said, sometimes we're a sounding board because when you're talking about legacy, we're all involved in this thing, kind of behind the scenes. And not only that, whatever we put out there has to represent us as a whole. So we're part of a family. Everything that we put out there has to be relevant to our beliefs and the quality that we want to put out there. It reflects all that.
And you might notice a voice. You might notice a voice that you're like, man, her voice sounds familiar. Oh man, one of our commercials on our show is Nicole.
They try to cut me out at one
I
point.
would say, you know,
They try to take me out, but I'm still here.
try to diversify it a little bit, you know,
Still
throw
here.
a little different flavor
I'm
in
still
it,
here.
you know, over the last few episodes, but you can catch her in the earlier
In the older episodes.
episodes.
So I
you know.
guess at some point my voice is going to be.
And that would be
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
I really think we should, Marlon.
Definitely, yes.
We'll record
Today.
That. We'll record that today.
Today.
We'll record that one. Record that one today.
Can't get rid of it.
But yeah, so talking about legacy, and you know, it's funny because T, which we call her T, and Nicole, hope we don't mind me calling you T on the podcast. Because he
no,
mentioned
it's
you
fine.
as
Everybody
Camilla.
calls me
Yeah, okay, good. They asked us, what are we going to be talking about? You know, and Marla and I, quite honestly, we never have anything scripted. We talk so often that we kind of flow off each other. And when we talk to our guests, it's more of a natural conversation. And that's more or less what we're going to simulate today. And when we're talking about legacy, what's the first thing that comes to each of our minds when we're talking about legacy?
The first thing that comes to my mind is what my kids. That's the first thing.
Right to the point. I love it. A woman, a few words. Only on camera.
I'll throw you under the bus. Try to throw you under.
So when I talk about legacy is different. Kids are very are the forefront, leaving a legacy. Also, just leaving an impact on your child, but also the world for the better. So being able to make, somebody said, you know, Rick and I, we're not super famous, right? We have a podcast out there, but we have people that actually reach out to us and say, hey, this episode, you guys talked about this and this really helped me, and they helped me to reevaluate the way I look at things, and or propelled me to take that step and do actual things that I wanted to do. So, you know, leaving that and just knowing that you made an impact in the world, we're not talking about the monetary gain or anything like that, but just because we genuinely want people to be able to be successful, and when they're going on that journey, we want to just be that person to hold their hand and take them on the journey. But any good steward of anything would want to first make sure yourself, anything that you're placed with, is you maximize that. So my children, I definitely want them to be able to carry on and be successful in life.
Correct. Yep, go ahead.
That's right. I think legacy is anything that is left long after you're gone. So with this podcast that the guys are doing is really something that will be left long after even maybe our kids. Maybe it's something that can impact people for multiple generations, or at least it will start a trend, especially in all of our kids, that success is something that is the norm, and that it's obtainable, and that through this podcast they'll be able to see that, and again they're going to learn from it and bring it into their life, and hopefully into the lives of others. So it's going to just transcend the here and now. It's going to last for a long time.
Yeah. I would say for me, I can say everything that everyone said here so far, and I agree with 100%. I was trying to think of something different, so we bring in one more different aspect of it. And I would just say, and just to enlighten something different, duplication. And you know, a lot of times, a lot of people have been able to, you know, do very well for themselves, right, and obtain so many different things, but how many people have actually duplicated their efforts and what they've done, not just for their kids and their family, but more so just their communities, you know? So how do we live a life to where we can duplicate ourselves and first reach the potential, and on our way to reaching our full potential, duplicate ourselves in the people that we see around us that also want to strive. So that's what I think about with legacy. Legacy.
And to touch on something that Nicole talked about, you know, when some of the YouTube clips that I watch now are from way back in the day, that somebody said something or something, and now I'm like, okay, I'm understanding it now, even though they said it probably, you know, 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
And
being able to even just look at Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jackson you know, there's kids, he died before certain kids, but you still have kids dancing like him because
Oh,
they
yeah.
watched an old video.
Yep.
So just the same thing that
see.
you're saying, that we might put this podcast out, and this is the year 2019. However, in the year 2040,
Yeah.
it might be able to impact somebody's life and duplicate
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
those efforts.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
So we're talking about legacy. What are the challenges that you see in terms of getting to that point of meeting that definition of legacy personally? Like, what are some of the challenges personally? And then we're going to talk about the balance in family dynamics and just life in general.
That's good. I think a lack of knowledge sometimes impacts the ability to make a legacy. I think some people they have the tools, they have the resources, they have the knowledge, and some people don't. Unfortunately, you guys probably have gotten in contact with people and introduced you to the concept of a podcast and how to actually do it. Because of the social circle that you're in, the network you have, you're able to do that. Not everybody has access and knowledge like that. And I think that by starting where you guys are, kind of like grassroots, people who don't have a lot of knowledge and a lot of access to certain type of technology, they can say, you know, I can actually do this. These guys made it happen. I can do it too. And it'll just go and just kind of snowball from there.
Yeah.
So when I think of the impact or what challenges basically the society that we live in now, because we grew up in an era where, you know, respect, we're taught about respect, and now our kids, you know, you've seen it outside where they're not so respectful anymore, and you try to pass it on to your kids, so they'll be, you know, passing it down the line. But nowadays in that society-wise, you're like,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
will they continue that?
it's not popular.
Yeah. I would say the challenges, well, Nicole hit on a good point, you hit on a good point too, society in terms of stereotypes, right? So it's twofold, right?
Yeah.
Obviously everybody see the camera right now. We're black. Surprise.
Hey, what? I never knew.
Right? Right?
You
Right?
gotta be specific.
Oh, wait. Jamaicans. Jamaicans.
Alright. So, there's a stereotype, especially with the information that, you know, when somebody sees, let me not tell you what the stereotype is. You determine what the stereotype is, but you know that the stereotype is out
You
there.
already know.
And we're trying to change the way people would view, you know, how we approach
Yeah.
a certain situation. So just like you're talking about with, you know, back in the day, you know, you get tore up, you go outside and you just answer to a person that's older than you, yes.
Yes,
You didn't have to
ma'am.
know the person,
Yes.
you know, so that happens. But the challenges that I see is that we have to be able to teach other people, give them the knowledge, but also be able to let them see the carbon copy, because sometimes, and that's that duplication that you talk about, a lot of times people talk about something but they're not about it.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to tell you, hey, you need to be a winner, you need to be this, you need to be this, you need to be that, you need to be this, but you need to show that person how to do it, so they'll be like, okay, that person's doing it, I'm doing it too. And that's the challenge that we have, especially with social media, that we are against social media, that social media, somebody could rent a car, rent a nice Phantom, right, Bentley or Rolls Royce,
Yeah.
park it in front of their house, or park it in front of a house that they know is for sale, that's nice and big.
Yep.
True.
They put on a nice suit, they stand up before the car and they talk about how they're making millions and da 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 da.
Exactly.
And then somebody see their lifestyle and they have a couple trends and they get a couple followers, they're like, oh man, that's how it's supposed to be. Versus you and I, like, that's coming from the grassroots, or us that's coming from the grassroots, where somebody's not seeing us jumping on a private jet, jumping out, flying over to London to give a talk. We have to actually come out of our pockets and pay to go to Charlotte, or pay to go there,
Yeah,
pay to go to
exactly.
different places.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you said that. Because I look at it too in the sense of, okay, so perception, right? So perception really is the reality for individuals. No matter what the actual reality is, the way they perceive it is what's real to them at that moment, right? So one challenge I see is that helping people realize what the reality is versus to what their perception is, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
But in society that we live in, sometimes it's very difficult. You know,
Yes.
Prime example. And I don't really talk about personal stuff too much on the podcast, but I'm going to share this one aspect of it, and hope you get the story through it or my message through it. So I work in an area where most people that look like me, people can perceive as aggressive, negative, dangerous. Man, you know, you get alerts all the time. Oh, there's something going on. Be careful. There's a shooting. There's a robbery. And most of the time, unfortunately, it's people that look like me, right? So the reality is, you know, based off perception and based off the activity, is that if they see African American gentleman, their first thing, based on how that gentleman looks, their first thing they're thinking is fear,
Yeah.
right? Just based off of the activities in the area. So for me, wanting to be successful on my journey and, you know, stepping into that environment, I have to put myself in a situation or present myself in a way so that I can eliminate that perception of fear.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they see me and I look as what that perception is, then they automatically close their door to me, right?
Correct.
So I have to intentionally, prime example, I have to intentionally wear certain things, right? So that I stand out from what their reality is. In order for them to see me a little different. Not that I'm trying to be better than anyone. That's not what it is. But I'm walking into a situation and the things I do not want, and have to break down barriers before they even get to see what I can do, what I'm capable of doing. So if I can eliminate some of those barriers and those walls that are put up based off of the reality of their perception of what African American men do or whatever it is, I'm going to do that. So I can put myself at a higher vantage point.
Yeah.
You know, but
That's marketing.
yeah.
If anybody say anything different, that's marketing, right?
Yeah. So that's the challenge with that. So now when we talking about, you know, the challenges and all that kind of stuff, but we all have families.
Correct.
Yeah, clearly.
We all have jobs, full-time jobs. We have kids that demand a lot of time.
Yes.
You know, but yet we're still on this journey to become, you know, our full potential. I don't even call it successful. Reach our full potential, right? Successful in that. At the same time, produce content so that you can become successful. You know what I'm saying?
Throw that in there.
You know, balance. Like, how have you, you know, worked with the whole balance issue over the last few months? I asked you, and then I'll ask T on the other side of it, and then I'll do the same thing on my end. Yeah.
So the funny thing is, so my family's dynamic is it's set up a little different from yours because we're used to moving. See, we're both in the military, right? So, right? Point that out.
Yeah.
We set up a little different. I don't know. So T's kind of used to me not being around 100% of the time because, you know, I go on deployment or I have to go on an exercise or I have to travel here for some kind of reason and vice versa, right? So that, I think that prepares me, our family in terms of me being absent or me having to go for a weekend, even though while I was here, people don't know, while I was doing, when we first started the podcast, I was here by myself and my wife was 3,000, 2,000 something miles away, and we're almost separated for a whole year.
Yes.
Right? So that was a different dynamics, traveling back and forth. Now, what I like about what I like to talk about the friction that this podcast causes in my life is that when I'm saying to somebody, this is how you become successul, it balances me out because it's checks and balances to make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good, yeah.
So sometimes I might have to research something because we're getting a person on that I don't know anything, I don't know anything about, you know, I can't remember the
GI doctor,
the doctor, the thing that he's doing. So I had to research. I'm like, okay, boom, and then I'm like, okay, and then while I'm researching and while I'm looking at things, I'm like, oh man, I could become better in this way. And then for the family balance, you know, T, she picked up a lot of the slack that I leave, right? I have to say it, right?
With the podcast or not?
Go
You know?
T. Okay.
Not the podcast about, right? Because when I'm saying, when you and I are saying, okay, hey, we have to go to XYZ and fly to somewhere or go somewhere to do an interview, or it's a Sunday and we have to go somewhere to interview somebody. The kid still needs to get ready to go to school. The kids still have to go to different different events, track and field, all these different things.
Or to spend time.
Or to spend time with the family. And that's where you know, she definitely steps in and say, hey, I got that, go handle your business. And then it makes it just the nucleus just that much more well-oiled and running.
Go T.
She look like she going on note on me right now. Oh my goodness, she gonna do it. That's what
My hair, you can't see my hair is thinning up. Not for T. I went for Nicole to go. I was like, oh man, why'd I ask this question?
No, but I agree with Marlon. I try to make his life as
So the world can see. You know,
I didn't pay her for that one either.
as easy as possible, because you know, if we're both happy, then everything will run smoothly. But I must say, I have help. My mom, my dad, they'll alternate, can help me with the kids. So that's the biggest part of me, is that I always have someone to help me. And that kind of smooths out everything, where I can let him do his thing, and I have the help, you know, to continue what I'm doing as well. It's challenging because he's gone, well, he has been gone most of the time, and he hasn't experienced me being gone yet. So it's coming up. So we'll see how that goes when I have to leave.
Evil laughter.
No. And just to double back before you go to you guys' dynamics, is also that I have to remember that my goals is not the forefront of the family. That T has goals too, and in order to accomplish those goals, it's just like when I do my master's, right? She's like, hey, you do your master's, and then right after, because there was nights where I just say, hey, I'm closing the computer room and I'm going to work. I'm not coming out all weekend.
True.
I'm not coming out all weekend. I'm writing papers and that's it. So
I think she's talking about another door.
Trying to make up for the time that missed. That's what she thought. That's what she thought.
Why are you writing papers?
that's how you guys get down. Anyway, but I have to remember now when she's gonna come here and she's gonna want to finish up her master's. It's gonna be she's gonna lock herself up for a whole weekend, and I have to say, okay, I have to deal with everything. Thank God for grandparents.
Oh man, so for us, baby, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Balance. Yeah, it is a bit of a challenge, because a lot of the times, like you guys said, that everybody has goals and they have things that they want to accomplish, and especially with kids in the mix and everything. But I think we worked it out. I've gotten to a point where I'm just aware of what Ricky's schedule is, and I'm like, okay, that's what you do. Great, we'll take care of it. Like if you guys have to fly out somewhere, by default, I'm there with the kids, taking them where they need to go. And it's just become a kind of a flow of life. It was not always that easy for me. Honestly, I had to accept that, because when I realized that his goals actually benefit our family in general, and that he's setting an example for the kids by doing what he's doing and being as busy as he is, I was better able to accept that. So over time it has become a lot easier, but there were times, I'm not gonna lie, where it's like, so you going to Cali for an interview, but you're still going to Cali, like you're gonna be in Cali, I'm here.
And we made sure we sent pictures back to her.
You know? But it's cool because now it's like when I see the product of that, I'm like, okay, so it makes sense, and the kids see it, and they really appreciate the things that he does. So it really helps them to be better kids, better people, eventually learn how to be better men. And he's a great example of how to balance time, because the kids like, there's no lack. It's not as if they don't feel like they have a father, and it's not as if they see that he's not there enough. He always comes back, jumps right into things, takes the kids places. I get a break. He'll take them to church. I'll stay at home sometimes. So the balance is really good because he fills in the gaps. Anyway, he fills in the gaps for when he's not there. So
No, that's good, babe. I'm glad you said I don't have to say anything.
yeah, there you go. You fill in the gaps. Yeah, I'm not gonna roast you, throw you under the bus.
No, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, one thing I try to be intentional about, and I try hard to be intentional about, is being present in the moment. So if I'm home, being present at home with the kids. If I'm at work, being present there. I'm doing stuff that I'm away, you know, being present there, doing it. And Marlon can attest. I mean, we were, I forget where we were. I was like, yo, dude, I'm ready to go home, man. I ain't trying to stay out here too long. I said, man, dude, go to the spot, hit what we got to do, boom, and be gone. You know, I ain't trying to go sightseeing, all that other stuff. You know, I did want to go skydiving, but this guy chickened out. But that's another conversation for another day.
I didn't know.
Another day, another conversation.
We're going skydiving. We saw some the other day by your uncle's.
Yeah, exactly. Another day, man. He's a little braver now, so he'll probably see set it up. But Marines, right?
The few of the proud.
Yeah, but yeah. It's just all about that balance, and like Nicole said, is being able to jump in, and it's not easy though, man. Because we're trying to,
it's not.
you know, I have to really intentionally, you know, schedule out my days and my weeks to make sure things fit in. You know, what you don't see, and some people mentioned it in our circle of podcasters, and like, hey, you record the podcast, that's one thing, you know. But, you know, getting everything else set up around that, you know, that takes time. And I remember Marlon, he was on Instagram like crazy. He's not even a person that's on Instagram.
Nope.
And he's responding to people all hours of the day, you know, whatever. It's just like, you know, all this time. I'm sitting there editing all this time, you know, putting stuff here. We're going checking volumes here and there. You know, it's just, you know, it takes a lot. But we're doing it because it's a love that we have to do it. But at the same time, it's like we got to understand is that, okay, but with us doing great in that, we're still doing great on our journey and our professions and our families and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And we make sure we dedicate time to what is needed in those moments, you know. And that's the only way that we're able to juggle a few things. I know people had questioned me, like, "Oh man, you got a lot of things on your plate, and it looks like a conflict of time." I was like, "Don't worry about my time, man. Like I know how to manage my time. You know, I know how to. If I need to sleep less, then guess what? I'm going to sleep less. But I'm going to make sure I get everything done that needs to be done." So, but yeah, like Nicole said, I try to be here for the kids and always present, working with them. And you never know, like within like 5 minutes is like hours.
Yeah.
You know, and dedicated 5-10 minutes is like hours to them. So as long as you have that dedicated time, whatever it is.
Balance. What's funny is, you know, in a marriage you need balance, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about that marriage, that balance in the marriage, but also in a partnership when in any business venture, you need that balance. And a lot of times business don't work out because you don't have the right mix.
Yeah, that's
right.
Thing.
And you know, I always tell Ricky, you know, we make a joke, but we feel like we're married, you know.
you know.
That kind of party. But we feel like we're married because it's funny. Like he said, we could flow off each other, and we go somewhere, and Ricky knows. We go somewhere and there's something to do. We know where everybody's gonna be going to or what's gonna be doing what. We know, Ricky does the editing. I do this over here. I take care of the Instagram. I might work on putting our stuff on networking. I might get so we have all these different things that we come together and we don't say. I don't say like, oh man, oh Ricky should have been doing it. We know exactly where each other's strong point is and we attack it. and we go to that. And it's the same thing for the marriage. It's the same thing for business.
Correct.
And it's funny, we don't talk about what we do because the show is not really about us.
Correct.
The show is about other people and helping you to see people on their journey going to success. But if you talk about it, we have almost the same dynamics when it comes to that. You have our family, so you have to balance your family. We have our professions that we do, right?
Yeah.
And then we also have the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we're both entrepreneurs doing different things in different fields that we also do too. So that balance and that dynamics is very, very, very important of using the time wise.
Absolutely right, Marlon. And it's but all that being said, we are extremely excited about season number 2 coming out. When I say extremely excited, we already started recording some of our episodes for season number 2, and man, they're gonna blow you away. I mean, some of these ladies and men that we recorded and we're gonna release to the world, dynamics, a full array of background and just thought process and there's different journeys that we just want to present to you guys and allow you guys to be a part of. But Marlon, we didn't mention two major exciting things that we have going on this season. 2 different platforms.
Okay.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Platforms that we didn't let everyone know. So let's let them know about that, and then we'll tell them. That should be it.
Everybody knows all the other platforms. Of course, if you're watching this for the first time, thesuccessjourneyshow.com, that's our webpage, right? You go on our webpage and you can click on any of the episodes. However, we found this great thing called podcasts. Podcoin. Podcoin gives you the ability to listen to us and at the same time being paid. And it's not in the form of money coming to your bank, but what you could do is once you're on Podcoin, you can listen to us and then it comes to you just like Bitcoin. You have coins that come to you and then you can redeem it by a Amazon gift card, Zales gift card, whatever it is, the kind of thing you could do it. And the good thing about that, the owner and the founder of that company is actually going to be on our podcast.
Yeah.
And he has a dynamic story because he became a millionaire when he was in his 20s with him and his sister. His brother helped him out. David Cook. You guys are that's going to be wild about that. We're on iHeartRadio.
Yes.
All right. So if you go to iHeart, you see they
This is new to us
too. So iHeartRadio, iHeartRadio. If you go on iHeartRadio, look for the Success Journey Show. We are on there. Yeah. And of course, iHeartRadio is a big deal. Along with all the other plethora of networks.
21.
Yeah, 21 the Net. Let me not forget that. That is a web radio station. 21 the Net. We are on 21 the Net. You could go. They actually have an app. You could go onto your different platform, whatever, Android, Apple, and you could definitely you could go onto 21 the Net. So it's just like a radio station. They're gonna have it playing over and over different times, and it's exactly like a radio station. They're in a plethora of places. We are in over 30 countries.
That's amazing.
Right? So, thank you guys for your support and giving us the ability to just bring you that content and share it with the world.
Yeah. Like Marlon said, over 30 countries. I think we hit around 40 states in the United States. So we want to thank you for the support, listening, sharing. If you have any ideas of people that you think would be a great guest on our show, we're definitely open to it. Go to our website, contact us through there, or come on any one of our platforms and leave a comment on our platform. Listen, we're excited about this show, and not just excited about like we're getting something out of it, because really we don't get anything out of it.
Meaning monetarily,
yeah. More so for the satisfaction of being able to share this information with you, and that's what we love, right? So we are going on this journey with you. We've been traveling since day one. The first time you saw us on this camera, right at this table, it was just Marlon and myself. We introduced our wives. You see, I'm wearing glasses. I wasn't there before. We're going through a process of life. So listen, We are excited to release season 2. Stay tuned next week for our very first episode in season 2. Is going to be episode number 37. And we will, cut me off.
I'm sorry, I was just, wow, 37.
Yeah,
Wow.
right, we're at 37. And we will see you next time at the same place on the Success Journey Show. All right, everyone, have a good one. Peace.
Okay.
One love, one love.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.